Hello from the Seattle Hempfest 2012. We're having a great time with my friends. I cannot believe how much fun we're having at the Seattle Hempfest, especially when we got somebody as magnificent as Jodie Emery here. And Jodie, thank you for taking time for Hemp. It rocks. I can't believe it.
It's always a pleasure.
We want an update on your husband first. Tell everybody how Mark's doing.
Oh, well, today he performed his 9th prison concert performance with his band Yazoo.
Nice.
He's the leader of, who plays bass guitar in. My husband has never played an instrument before being in prison, and over the last year and a half he took up music, and it's really helping him get through it. So that's awesome. That's the latest update, the most recent update there is about Mark. But otherwise he's keeping healthy, he's keeping positive. He's very encouraged by a lot of the progress going on while he's away. He may have been in prison for selling millions of seeds and giving millions of dollars to the marijuana movement, but he knows that those seeds of freedom were planted, they're overgrowing the government, and we're seeing it happen throughout the United States, and it's spreading out throughout the world to end this war on drugs. So Mark is very happy to know that his own prosecutor, John McKay, supports legalization, and that many people in law enforcement and in the mainstream are turning around and they're saying prohibition's a failed policy, people's lives are being destroyed, and it's got to end. And Mark is going to be home in under 2 years, July 9th, 2014. He said he's going to be so sad he won't be able to come to Hempfest with me because he won't be allowed in the U.S. But at least he knows that here, where
we'll
he was
Skype
invited,
him in. We'll Skype him in.
We'll make sure his presence is felt.
Absolutely.
I will be here always.
Now, I remember when he was on the radio show about a year and a half, 2 years ago, he talked about being prepared to go to prison, and that he felt that if that day came, he would do things like you were talking about that were productive and positive, and start learning new skills, new hobbies, read new books. So that is something that is what he's doing now and maintaining.
Reading and writing a lot. He walks around the track, and everybody there knows who he is, and he's always gotten along with people. So they all like him. The guards even ask him for advice about disputes with their fellow employees. I mean, Mark is treated very well, and for that we are so grateful, because I know that there are so many prisoners who suffer and have a much worse time than he has. So every day we're absolutely grateful that things are going the way they are for us, and we're just trying so hard to make sure that we can save so many other people from that sort of suffering that they're going through now.
Well, now this is probably something you get a little tired of. Everybody's really caring about Mark or worrying about Mark, but they don't worry about Jodie.
Oh, no, people wonder about me all the time.
Well, how is Jodie doing? How are you holding up?
I think I'm holding up pretty good. It's better to be busy than bored, I always say, and I sure am busy. So running our head shop in Vancouver, Cannabis Culture Headquarters, Mark started that when he started his revolution to get seeds and magazines and books across the country, paraphernalia. Mark helped start all that with his store, and I'm running that. I'm running 2 lounges. I've got Pot TV, CannabisCulture.com, and I've run for office a few times, but I'm just trying to focus mostly on taking care of Mark and pushing this movement forward. So that's what I do with most of my time. I don't think I really ever get a vacation, but this sort of work is also a lot of pleasure, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Now, one thing that blew my mind, you were talking about how earlier at the symposium, how Mark had to help import the truth.
Yeah, just literature about marijuana was illegal in Canada, and Mark brought magazines and Jack Herrera's The Emperor Wears No Clothes into Canada.
And that's what made me go, I remember when Mark was on the show one time, he talked about how when he placed his order for the first time for The Emperor Wears No Clothes, he placed that order with me.
Oh, really?
I was the individual that him and Chris Bennett dealt with, and we had to resend them a second time because they got stopped at the border. And Chris Bennett called me up and said, "Hey, send them like this, address them like that, wrap them like this, send them in 2 different packages."
Smuggle the truth in.
And we did, and then we got a phone call from this guy by the name of Mark Emery about a week or 2 later saying, "Everybody in Canada is going to know who Jack Hare is. I promise you. I promise you. Is he there now?" I said, "Yeah. Jack, you got somebody who loves your book on the phone." And that was like an hour later, Jack came out and said, "They're going to learn the truth in Canada."
Right on, and they certainly have, and that's spreading worldwide. So thank you to all the people who have come before us who aren't here any longer. They've given their due. They've worked hard to get us where we are today, and we owe it to everyone in the future to keep working hard to get us in someplace better tomorrow.
Now, you've got this groovy little podcast that you put out every week or so.
Yeah, once a week I do a video update. I didn't do it this week, sorry. Sorry, everybody, but
Well, you're a
I'm
little busy. Yeah, just a little busy. But why not people know how they can find your little podcast?
Oh yeah, you can go to cannabisculture.com or pot.tv. Pot.tv was one of the first video websites streaming on the internet ever, and it was for marijuana. Mark Emery started that, and there's a lot of information there. We do live shows every week, plus my pre-recorded one where I update everyone about Mark and what I'm doing and a lot more. So you can check that all out at cannabisculture.com and pot.tv.
And I've got a little radio show as well, and occasionally Jodie. Occasionally, well, that's why.
It's a little big show.
And occasionally Jodie's nice enough to find time to work into her schedule to come on and give updates of what's going on with cannabis culture and her and Mark.
Always
and
try to have time for that.
because you are part of our family, and I want to thank you for having time for us here and for partying with us and taking time with Casper and friends at the Seattle Hempfest.
Wonderful place to be, and hope everybody can make it another time.
Free Mark Emery!
And
Woo!
free
Yeah!
Thanks, Casper. Aw, thank you. Aw. And you too. You're strong. You've had your battles, and look at you.